Welcome to today's webinar. We are going to talk about custom materials and objects. I see that you are coming in to today's session. Let's see that if everyone is here. By the way, if you are watching this show on YouTube, you should see a chat bar, so you should be able to ask your questions. Please do that during this show, and in the end I will answer your questions. And should you have anything related to today's topic, just leave a comment later as well. If you are watching this show after this event, please like this content if you like the video, and let's see what we have for today. Today we are going to talk about custom objects and materials that we are going to bring into Live and save it into the library of Live, and also we will work with complete models. I will also show you how to import total building if it's not something that directly comes from either the ARCHLine.XP design software or with the from the SketchUp 3D modeler. We actually have complete webinars about live sync to both of those softwares. If you're interested, please check those. But today I'm going to work with separate objects and separate solutions, creating individual objects and materials. So let's focus on the first topic that I wanted to talk about today, and that is if you have a model of a complete building, you can actually start with working with that simple file. Let's imagine that you received the model from someone else who saved their model into any of those model formats that Live supports. I actually have a SketchUp file, so I will select that. So you just receive that file from the other designer, and then you just look for that file. I have this complete building in an SKP file, so I just click on that one. I click open, and then I can start working with that once it is loaded as a new project. So there's a difference between loading an object as a new project, and there's a difference between the rest, which I will show you soon, when you load this as an object, not as a project, and then you would like to use it as a decorative chair or something like this. So now I have a complete building, this here, and I can do all sorts of things with that. I can change the north direction if I want to. I can change the sun settings to have a better visual on that building that I have downloaded or used. This could be a fully detailed interior or an exterior architectural model, just as I do have now, and I can start working with that. So there's no difference how you start your project. Once you have your project, you can change the materials, for example, on the surfaces. Let me just turn on all instances mode, so instead of changing materials one by one, similar materials on surfaces, I would like to change them everywhere in the model. So I can just go and use a nice kind of darker metal here on the surfaces. I can also go here, zoom in, and try to kind of, refine the material and change it to something. Instead of like a general material, I can select kind of like a glossy surface or something like that, and then I can just refine the settings. Also something like that I can do with the surrounding fence, for example. I can change it to wall surface, and then by default the wall surface has a brighter surface, but I still have the option to change it darker, brighter, or change its reflection, roughness, and everything else. Also I can add all sort of decorative items like cars, trees, and so on. So this is a very simple thing. You just go to the object library, try to find a nice car model, either downloaded or part of the default model. You can also go to find a human character, like for example, let's just place Sophia here, waiting for someone, and then let's just place for example Nathan into this corner, and he should go from his car, approach the building entrance on the side, and he should be animated. So I just add a new path animation and start in front of his legs, and let's just go around and just place it someplace here like that, and enter, and then let's just select walking, so he will start walking. So this is how easily you can start a project. It's not so different from other ways of starting. Just this time I had an object containing a complete building from one of my co-designers, and then I started working with that. So this is how you can use an external file as a basis of your whole complete design project. So now, instead of this one, I actually wanted to show you other things as well, and for that I have another project loaded, this one, and here I would like to focus on the custom content, the custom object. When you would like to import objects as decorative items, not as a basis of the whole project, but as chairs, flowers, I don't know, flower pots, or any other decorative items like pillows or something like that. So how to work with those. Once you have an object like that, you can go to the main menu of Live, and then you can use the import command, this one. Once you open up that option, you end up on your hard drive, and you can go to the library of yours, and then you have something either received from someone or downloaded. This, in my case, as I used the 3D warehouse, so I have downloaded a few things like benches, and also I downloaded a smart vacuum cleaner. This is what I want to load now. So once you have a separate file, by the way, these are the file formats that ARCHLine.XP Live supports. So once you have a file in the supported formats, you just select that, and you need to click on open. Now there will be the next step when you can tell whether the object is the one that you wanted, because you will see a nice little thumbnail. You can tell whether the scaling is proper, or you need to change it, because you will see the XYZ sizes, and I think this time it's okay. But if I wanted to change to anything else, I can just select a different scaling from this selection. I can make it 10 times smaller. I can see it's reflected in the size. I can make it 10 times larger, or any other ways. But this time I will just go with scaling of 1:1, so I don't want to change the scaling. By the way, if I would like to use a specific value, I can just click here and type that. The values are by default interlocked. So that means if I change the value X, value Y and Z, all the other sizes will be automatically recalculated, because they are locked together. But if I don't want to do that, if I just want to change the height without changing the two other sides, then I just unlock this, and then I can just retype this value here. So this is how it works. There could be one another thing that would be something that I need to change, or I need to fix with the model. Sometimes models are not modeled the way they are applied. I mean, sometimes they are on their sides or on their backs or something like that. If that happens, you can just fix that using the X, Y, Z up or down options to rotate the model before importing. I'm not using this because I'm not happy if the vacuum cleaner is on its side. This vacuum cleaner is modeled properly, so I will just go with the automatic option. But if for any reason I need to, I can rotate it before I import it, so that's a very useful option in that case. Now I actually go with the default, so I did not actually change anything, and let's just focus on what sort of options I have when I open a model. And I have the first option, which is pretty much the same to what I show you at the beginning when I started my project based on a model. But now this is not a complete building, so I'm not willing to use this model as the basis of my model. But if this would be a complete building, yet I would have the options to start a new project from here and save the previous one that is already opened. Now there is another way, and this is actually what I want to do now. And that is the import this object into the library. But before I do that, I would like to show you the other option, which is just simply importing the object, but it is not saving into the library. This is good for testing, or if you're not sure that this model will be used in any of the rest of your models, then you would go with the last option. Let me just show you that first. If you click on that, then the software opens that up, zooms into the object, and you can tell whether you like that object. Well, the default position will be somewhere out of your whole model, so you need to reposition it if you would like to use that. but this is only the difference that the software is placing it right into the model and not saving into the library, or you would like to save it into the library and after placing it. And actually this is what I want, so I go back to my views and I just repeat this step again. So again, if you would like to import something, you just go here and click on import, and then you can select the model that you would like to import, click open, and then you can check the size and the preview. If it's okay, then you can just go there and import this model into the library. Now I actually already have this, so I will the software tells me that I can either overwrite it or I can just create a new asset, a new object. Perhaps I'd like to have a different colored version of this, but this time I just would like to overwrite the old one. So once I do that, the software will automatically save it into the object library, into the imported object sub-library here. And then from here, I can just click and drag and place it here. And then I could add, you know, a path animation just as I did with the human asset called Nathan. And this time I could just make this little smart Hoover walking or just working in this room in a certain path. There could be another thing that I want to do. Sooner or later, if I import many objects, I would end up a lot of objects in my imported objects library, and that's something that I don't like. So I need to create a new library in the navigator. This is something that you can easily do. If you move your mouse down here, you will see an option, a button called create a new folder. If you click on that, the software will automatically create a new folder called folder, which you can rename. Let's just rename this to, well, I think I will just go with my objects. And like that, and enter. So now I have an empty folder called my objects, and whatever I downloaded into the imported objects, I can just select that, and I can also cut it, and then I can just go to the libraries here and find my objects library and just simply, you know, paste it here. This is how easily you can do that. And this is exactly the same specific model, so if you click and drag, you can place another instance of that into another part of this model as well. So this is how it works. This is how easily you can import models into your libraries, and this is how you can create folders. This is how you can rename folders, and by the way, it's the same exact way you can actually rename this object. Let's just rename it to, I don't know, well, I don't want to erase it accidentally. I hit the delete button. This is not what I wanted, so I just want to, you know, remove one part of this name, and for example select this one and hit change it to a space or something like that. I can just refine the name, and then I will have the same exact object with a different name, so it's very easy to rename those. Okay, so this is how you can import objects. I also talked about materials, and I also want to show you how you can bring in new materials, new colors, new textures into either into your interior design or into your architectural designs. So for this reason, I will just zoom into this part of this model, and first I start working on this wall surface. Bringing in new materials is a little bit different, but the only difference is that you need to first go to the material library, and here in the material library you also have the option to either use any of those existing folders, any of those folders in your model, in the flooring and so on, or you can again create a completely new folder for your materials. Now again, this is by default named plain folder, and I will just rename it to my materials, something like this. I'm fine with this name, and into this folder I will show you 2 or 3 different examples how you can bring in materials. Now once you would like to create a new material, you again need to click on this little cross here, and then you have 2 options to create a material with these. One option is to create a color-based material. Now what we have here is a color-based material. It's created out of a pure kind of coffee cream color, and if you would like to do something like that, you need to just click here and then select a color from one of our color tables. You can use an AutoCAD color table, RAL, Sequence, Bolix, NCS. any of those will do the job. I think I will go today with the RAL, and I will select something from the gray range, something like graphite gray or something like that. And if I hit OK, I will automatically have a material named RAL graphite gray, and I can just add a postfix like this should be something like well, like a wall paint or something, and so I can just add something into the name. Again, here you have the options, just as in case of the rest of the model materials. You can change the brightness reflection, and you can actually select the material type, which determines how reflective, how bright that material will be by default. And I will just go with the wall surface material like this one, and later if I don't like the defaults, I still have the option to change it on the wall surface, so no matter if I can't find the best solution at this very moment. So if I just hit OK, I will end up with the material that's called RAL graphite gray paint, gray wall paint, and then I can just click and drag it onto the wall surface, and then I have it here. Now because this model was this wall was modeled with 3 different surfaces, I also need to turn on the all instances mode and to, you know, just like drag it here, and then it will change the same coffee cream material in the rest of the model as well in one go. So I'm happy with this, but let's try another definition of a material, and this time I will go and create a new material based on not just a simple plain color, but based on a texture. And for that I actually went to a brilliant homepage called Texture Haven, and from Texture Haven I have downloaded 2 textures. One is this plaster material, so I'm going to use this one. And so all you need to have is just one image representing the texture itself, and click on open, and then you can set up what sort of material this is. And again, this is actually a wall surface, so I would just use the same. I won't change any of the defaults. Well, actually you can also change the size of this material if you want. You can just type a value here, or you can just you know, use the slider if you want. But once you're done, you can you should take care renaming it, because in case of using a texture, the software will auto-generate a name, and then, well, you can rename it just as the same way you could rename any of those objects, but now I prefer to give it a proper name. So this will be something like a plaster beige wall or something like that, and then this is what I will use. Okay, so now I have this plaster beige wall. I just click and drag and apply it onto the wall surface, and because I have applied this all instances mode, I have it on all of the wall surfaces, and it looks pretty cool. As at least it looks like the one I wanted to create. So this is my plaster wall surface and at the moment. Okay, one another example. What happens if I have a painting, a different painting, which I would like to apply here? That's actually the same story. You just go here, and again you just go to texture based. You select this image. Actually, this is a photograph I have downloaded from Pexels, which is again a brilliant website. It's a great source for images, paintings, and so on. So you just find that hit there. You just click on open, and then you will end up with the basic general material that you can change to something like I don't know. This should be something like glossy. Okay, I'm going to use it as a glossy painting. Perhaps there is a gloss surface in front of that, so I just use that and hit OK. So now I have that, and I just click and drag, apply it here, and then if I move the mouse here, then you can see it's clearly visible that it is a glossy surface. I perhaps need to refine the light source at the top, perhaps changing the intensity, changing the angle of the outer cone, changing the angle of the inner cone, changing how bright that is, and I don't know, changing the lighting of that. But this is already not related to the material. This is a lighting topic which we have a different topic about. So this is how you can bring in new things, and the same way I have imported materials from Texture Haven, denim materials, and this is how I applied these surfaces here. Okay, so this is all about the objects, all about the materials. And I have another sample prepared here, which is with a different object, with a different project. and this is about when I already have objects, perhaps downloaded from the 3D warehouse or coming with the model that I'm working with. But what I want to do is actually I would like to have several different versions of that certain object. Now, this object that I'm going to talk about is this nice street light. But instead of this default look, how it looks like, I would like to customize it, and then I would like to have that customized version of this object as a ready-made object so that I can use that in my future project. So let's see how that works. Now, first thing is to find the best look that you would like to have with that that other version. So I'm going to change the material to something brighter. I think yeah, this is it. I think I like this one. Let's just play a little bit with the glass surface. This is a brown glass. Well, this is not bad, but perhaps not the best that I could place here. This is better. Let's try a dark metal, I mean dark glass, or a plain glass. I think I will go with this one. So you just customize the model the way you want. And then here comes an interesting thing, that you can actually create a copy of this specific instance with this specific material setting into the libraries of the software. So for that, I'm going to go into either of my library, or I'm going to go into the imported objects library. Just no matter where I place it later, I can reposition it. But what I would like to do, I would like to select it and, you know, paste it into this library. And this is what happens. Now I already have this nice street lamp with this new material setting, and once I click and drag and I place it anywhere else on the street, instead of this previous one, I will place the copies of the new version that I have tailored. So this is how you can create separate versions of objects that you have in your model. Now there is a tiny thing that I wanted to change here. Sometimes if your model is too long or too wide or something like that, perhaps the thumbnail that the software generates, if it of course represents the object, but sometimes it's just too small because of how the original object looks like. And in that case, you have the option to change this thumbnail to perhaps something like a photograph that you have on your hard drive. So you go online, you find this object online catalog, there's a photograph of it, then you can just go here, you need to select this in the navigator, and you can go here and click on the change thumbnail image, and you can just find that. I actually downloaded that already, so I just go into my library where I have that, and then I just select this round street lamp JPEG and I click on open. So now from this point on, I will be able to better find it in my object library, because it has a much better image, which only represents the head of this lamp, but actually this is what I wanted. And there's one another thing that I have to change here, and that is actually the name of this. So let me just change this to street lamp or something like that, and then I'm done. So from this point on, if I have another object, if I have a new project, I can just find this street lamp with this specific image, and I can just click and drag and place it. And I have one last example that I wanted to show you, and this is about when you have a few objects or materials in the design system and you want to share those with live. That is a very easy thing to do. All you need to do is that once you have those objects or materials in your design center, in the libraries of ARCHLine.XP, the design software, then what you need to do is just to find a proper catalog. In my case, it's the objects, and you need to find, for example, this is a bathrobe that I'm willing to find. So I type bathrobe and I hit enter. Now it appears here. This is the object that I have previously downloaded from the 3D warehouse. And all I need to do is to, after I have selected it, check the size, I need to go here and click on export to live. And then once I do that, it starts generating the model. It starts creating the one version of it, sharing this model, actually copying this into the live library. And once I switch back to live, I will be able to find it. Actually, I already have two copies. So I erase one of those. I just select it and hit erase, and yes. And well, this is how I placed it here. I can just click and drag and place it over to one of the surfaces. And again, just as in case of the street lamp, I used it. If this image is not too, how to say, not the best that I could have, in that case, I just click here, and then I can just change the thumbnail image, perhaps to a photograph of a catalog image that I have downloaded previously. So I click on open, and then the software changes it automatically. I can also rename it, and from that point on, this is how I will find this object in my libraries for future projects as well. So this is how it looks like, and let's have a final look of this beautiful interior in a few seconds. So that was it. I hope you liked the content. By the way, for those of you who did not download the software yet, please use the link below me and just download either the free trial, or if you already have the software, just download the latest update, and you will be able to use the latest features of the software. Actually, let's see. I see that we have a few questions, so I want to answer them as well. There was one question which was about, let me just check that first. There's at least 2 or 3 that I have here. And one was about, okay, so what is the difference between importing an object and using LiveSync? Well, it's a difference is better described in another webinar, but in short, it's actually LiveSync is for when you have a complete project and you continuously develop that project in the original software, in the source software, should that be ARCHLine.XP, the design software, or SketchUp. And using LiveSync, you can do the initial sync and start working on the visual, and then continuously repeating the execution of LiveSync. You can publish all the changes while you develop further changes in your original model. So if you talk with your clients and they change their minds and you completely remove the desk and the tables and you change it to something else, or you remove walls and so on, so those sort of changes are the ones that you should track using the LiveSync. On the other hand, if you just simply use an object import that is mainly tailored for importing like smaller objects or humans or cars or vehicles or other things that are not the whole project but are a very effective and nice decorative part of that, just as in case of the material. So that's how I would distinguish the 2 functions. The one is for syncing the whole project, the other one is to bring in new content. Another question, well, actually this seems to be a suggestion. When I choose a color from for material, it could add full name, like it's in ARCHLine, like Arial and number. Yeah, it's a good idea. Thank you for your suggestion. And also there is another question. If I can use, so can I import an object as an XREF? Well, if you import something into Live, it is fully imported, so it's not referenced, it is imported. So if the model itself changes later, so let's imagine that this previous topic, if I change the SketchUp model of that smart hoover and I save it on my hard drive, the SketchUp model itself, then it won't automatically change the smart hoover itself, which was already placed in the model. However, if I want, I can, just as you saw it, I can re-import it again into the library, and I can decide what I would like to do with that re-imported version of it. Should I overwrite the previous one, or should I create a new copy? To avoid confusion, many times if I'm not sure whether I would like to keep the original or not, I use a new copy, and then I decide whether I would like to replace the original one or not. There's another question, and it's about can I send my objects to my colleagues? Well, directly from Live there is no export function, so this way not, but if you place an object into your design and you share the Live project with your co-worker, you are working together perhaps on the same project, then together with the project you will save the model as well. And if your colleague wants to, then they can do the same exact thing that I described today, that they can just select that thing and they can save the object that they want into their library. So they just select the same lighting pole, the street lamp, or any of the chairs or benches or something like that that I've placed on my design, and then they can save it, and they can even create new iterations out of those. And well, I think that's the end. Well, there's one more just arrived in another channel. It's about will we be able to make our own material using more textures like normal maps, roughness maps, and so on? Yeah, that is something that is I really think is a very, very good idea, and we are well, I cannot promise anything that has no like time constraint at the moment, but we are working on things of improving the materials without going into any more details. This is what I can tell about that at the moment. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for coming today, and I hope again you liked the content. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up, and then next time we are coming back with camera handling, and also about a new feature called director mode, which is for the animation, and it's, I think, pretty cool. You will like it, I'm sure. And then see you next time, next Wednesday at the same exact time. Until that, if you have any other questions, please just leave a comment. We will watch that and we will answer later after the show is offline. And also please just send your emails with the suggestions or questions, and we are more than happy to hear them, and we are more than happy to answer any of those. Thank you very much. Goodbye.